I'm Channy Peters, a member of the Democratic Alliance here in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. And I'm here with Elliott Hood, our Democratic candidate for the Colorado University Board of Regents in the upcoming election. Elliott, thank you so much for coming over and having a conversation about your candidacy. Have you been affiliated with the university for very long?
Yes, I'm a very proud CU grad. I went to CU Boulder. I graduated 20 years ago. I met my wife there, and we now are raising our family within a stone's throw from the university in Boulder.
How wonderful is that? I love it there. So Colorado University is an enormous business, really, with over 66,000 students, over 7,300 staff, with a billion-dollar impact on the Colorado economy. What kinds of responsibilities does the Board of Regents have?
Yeah, the Board of Regents has a wide variety of responsibilities. So they're the constitutionally created governing board of the CU system. So that's all 4 campuses in the system: Boulder, Denver, Colorado Springs, and the Anschutz campus in Aurora. They function much like a school board does. They manage, hire, and fire the president of the university. They pass all policy and law that applies across the whole CU system. They're the people that pass the $6.2 billion annual budget. They approve tenure recommendations. They approve major capital construction projects. So they have a lot of responsibility, important responsibilities at CU.
That's really vast. What, in your professional background and experience, particularly qualifies you for this job as a member of the Board of Regents?
Sure. So I think this is one of the most important public education leadership jobs in the entire state. And I've dedicated my life to public education. When I graduated from CU, I became a public school teacher. And I taught 5th grade in a Title I school in a low-income community. After several years in the classroom, I ran development for a very large education nonprofit. I then went to law school, and I've spent most of my legal career representing public school districts and educators across Colorado. I work very closely with elected school boards on a variety of policy and legal questions. I'm a litigator, so I go to court to advocate for our schools and educators across Colorado. And it's been the honor of my life to represent our schools.
How do you see your legal background as being uniquely helpful for being on the Board of Regents?
I think that my legal background, is an asset for this particular job. So I'm not the kind of person that would advocate that we need more lawyers in every context, but I think that on a policy governance board like this, having at least one lawyer on the board really does make a difference. And I've both served on boards, public and nonprofit boards. I've also advised boards. And having an attorney on the board who can actually dialogue with in-house counsel, can work on creating, crafting policy changes for the university, and can actually help the Regents navigate complicated legal issues is something that lawyers can do. And the fact that I'm an education attorney, the fact that I'm familiar with laws that apply to educational institutions, policies that apply to educational institutions, means that I will bring just that much more experience that's relevant to the job.
Excellent. What do you think are the greatest current challenges or priorities that the Board of Regents should be focusing on?
The biggest priorities that the Regents should be focusing on is, number one, we've got to keep CU affordable and accessible. It is far too expensive right now to attend CU. It's 4 times as expensive to attend CU as an in-state student as it was when I graduated from CU 20 years ago. So we've got to make sure that we're keeping tuition in check and finding ways to save our students money. We've also got to make sure that we're an accessible enterprise to students across the state. Every single scholar across the state that wants to go to CU or who wants to go to college should see CU as an opportunity for them, for a place that they can go, no matter where they grow up, whether it's on a farm in the eastern plains of Colorado or it's in the mountain community on the western slope. Everybody who's qualified to go to CU should see CU as an option. Number 2 is, once we get students in the door, we need to keep them and make sure that they're supported sufficiently so that they graduate and get the degree that they came to get. And number three, we've got to push on climate. CU is one of the greatest research institutions in this country that does a lot of important work on climate. But we as a system need to do more on climate change and sustainability. The one thing I think we can do right away is to commit ourselves as an institution to become carbon neutral in the next couple of decades. Lots of universities across the country have done that. Companies have done that. Countries have done that. CU hasn't done it yet. We should.
So would you say that those are your own personal priorities for when you get elected?
They are. And I would just add to that we need to build the most diverse, inclusive campuses we possibly can. We need to create places for civil discourse on a variety of issues that people care about. College campuses are a place where people should come together and learn from each other. We shouldn't be we're so divided right now as a country. College campuses are a place where we can come together and have civil dialogue on a variety of issues. And I also want to make sure that we continue to be the type of incredible research and learning enterprise that we've been known to be.
So then you would say that it's a priority of yours also to protect academic freedom.
Absolutely. One of my biggest priorities is to protect academic freedom at CU. In my view, one of the core functions of a university is that students and faculty come to learn and study without fear of reprisal and to search for truth without political consequences for what they do. That's actually one of the things that separates us as a higher ed institution from any other place where you could do research, is people can come here and do cutting edge research. And I want to make sure that we protect academic freedom at CU so that we avoid what we're seeing in states like Florida and Texas and Oklahoma and other states that have fantastic public enterprises and research colleges and institutions that are having an academic freedom invaded by partisan politicians.
Elliott, let me ask you something a little bit controversial. What are your thoughts or feelings about students and faculty and visitors being able to carry guns, loaded or not, onto the campus?
Yeah, my thoughts about students and staff, faculty and visitors being able to carry guns on a campus, I'm firmly opposed to that. And I understand that law enforcement and trained security personnel should be able to carry guns on campus to keep us all safe, but there is no reason that anybody needs a gun to teach or attend a class. And being able to carry firearms onto campus is both incredibly dangerous and incredibly disruptive to the learning environment.
So glad you feel that way. What is it that you want our viewers to take away from this conversation, that you really want, just a capsule of what you want them to remember about your candidacy?
I want the voters of Colorado to take away two things about this race. Number one is, this is one of the most important public education leadership jobs in the entire state. Who serves on the Board of Regents, the governing board of our state's largest university system, really, really matters. And I believe that I have the experience, the skills, and the training to hit the ground running as regent and to help the university effectively tackle its most pressing challenges. The second thing is, this is the only statewide race on the ballot this year, and it's also the swing seat on the board, which is currently held 5-4 by Democrats. So this race will determine whether the Democrats maintain their majority on the Board of Regents.
Elliott, thank you so much for coming over and having this conversation. I know how busy your schedule is these days.
Sure.
I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.